Hi, I'm Jeff Kuberstein, and this is Justice in Pittsburgh. This week, I'm going to try to correct a couple things to get things organized. Okay, one, we're going to develop an introduction page, which will talk about what the case is about, that the DA failed to prosecute, about the evidence, things like that. Just sum it all up so I don't have to repeat it every single time. Okay, corrections. The other time, I did address somebody as a television personality. Okay, no, I was not talking to Jimmy Kimmel and I wasn't meeting with Kenny from South Park. Okay, this was a prominent news anchor in Pittsburgh who a friend gave, my number to, gave a call, and she advised that she would look into it. She hadn't heard much about it, and that was it. No promises, no guarantees. She will release her name when she chooses to. On to the next issue. Okay. ADA investigations. Okay. I always harp on the fact that the district attorney refused to prosecute this case. Okay. Let's be straight up here in the elephant in the room. There's no evidence. Okay. This is a totally circumstantial evidence case. You might have the admission, but that even's a stretch with a suppression hearing, motion in limine, and other ways to push that out of the way. Okay. So I totally believe that a competent and professional DA investigator or an assistant district attorney went through this case, investigated, took a look at all the facts, read the letter, and came to the same conclusion that most people would on face value. Okay? You could not get a conviction. Okay? You could not convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that this occurred. This is where I disagree. I believe that sometimes in life, the best thing to do is nothing, but not in this case. I think this was thrown in to the usual he said, she said, not worth prosecuting, but that breaks it all down to where the system becomes about wins and losses, not about what's right. Okay, and I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. There's other avenues and ways to go. As we move forward, some of the things that bother me in this, okay, we're dealing with a case that has circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is inference evidence. Okay, in other words, if basically I find this with my fingerprints on it, okay, over there, then the only thing that means is that I held that. It does not mean I used that to hit somebody over the head with. Okay, if you have a witness, that is direct evidence. If they're credible. Okay, if you have a videotape, if you have something live, okay, those are direct evidence. This case is a drugged and intoxicated female who is being, let's say, indecent sexual, battery. Something's going on and something's going on wrong. And here's where it really started to get to me. Okay. Detectives told me that I had vomited on and soiled myself at the bar, so Aaron Fetty knew I was too intoxicated to consent to sex before he ever removed me from the establishment. Now think about this. There's a girl that you've been trying to get drunk all night long, allegedly. Okay? She has soiled herself. She has vomited on herself, and you take possession of her. Mr. Fetty, what was your intent? What were you going to do? How were you going to help her? You were going to get her home and drop her off like that? You were going to take her to an emergency room? No, that would mean a tox screen. And if all indications are true because of the incontinence and the amount of liquor consumed, a tox screen would not be positive for you. And again, the taking of this person home and leaving her there in that condition. That's just wrong. Whether you're a drunk cop or you're a sober cop, get her to an emergency room. Get somebody over there, a friend of hers. This guy didn't even know her. They were not going out. They were not together. They were not interested in each other. This was an opportunity. That's what this was. Okay, as far as the jury, I believe that a competent district attorney looking over this evidence and doing it correctly would be able to build a case to be able to prove to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that a sexual assault or battery was committed, and it was committed by this suspect. And I firmly believe that, and I'm going to continue with that. Circumstantial cases have been won. They're not easy. And they certainly don't take somebody saying, nah, that's not going to work. We're not going to get any political flavor out of that. There's no positive in it for us. I know for a fact that District Attorney Steven Zappala has put on cases with minute evidence and no chance of getting a conviction. So that's all garbage. Okay, this is political nonsense. This case needs to be heard. It needs to be seen. It needs to be judged. How about convening a grand jury? Let's see if they might decide. Either way, I'm not giving up. Whatever I can do to make this young lady, maybe in the future feel a little whole, or that she got some justice for what happened to her, maybe that makes me feel good. A friend asked me, said, why are you doing this? And I asked him, I answered him, I said, I don't know. Maybe it's brokenhearted over my divorce. Maybe it's my illness. Maybe it's just, this was wrong and needs to be made right. We'll continue. Anyhow, good night, and thanks for listening. Jeff out.